Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another terrific episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. In one corner, we have the monarch of Mardi Gras, the Baroness of Bourbon Street. When she's not co-hosting Ringside Society, she goes on crazy misadventures such as shopping for DeLoreans, dressing up as one of the Cobra Kai members, and picking fights with random people, and also going back to 1642 to get freshly churned butter. Don't know how she does that. Louisiana's own Kathy Knight. And in the second corner, we have that ocean crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always moving, ready for battle, fresh off a trip from the rainy city, Seattle, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. But it's not about us. No, you see, we have a special guest today. This man actually graduated from one of the best wrestling schools in America, in North America, where the students are trained by one of the best tag teams in professional wrestling, the Midnight Heat. Shout out to Ricky Gibson and Eddie Pearl. And this man graduated and he's now a referee. And guess what? He's even started refereeing death matches. That's right. Kathy, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that something that Rob wants to do, or he enjoys? He really wants to do. I don't know. He has some weird adventures he wants to go on. But everybody, welcome to the show, Brad Lee.
Woo! Hi, thank you. Nice to be on. I'm glad. Seen a lot of my fellow student graduates here, so excited. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, yeah, I gotta tell you, Brad. So it all started with a guy by the name of Gabe Sapolsky, who had a Spaces on Twitter. Great Spaces. I recommend it to anybody, whether you're in the industry or not. Very knowledgeable. Shout out to him as well. I don't know if he'd ever see this, but he had a Spaces, and in that particular Spaces that he had, he actually said that a lot of wrestlers on the West Coast, that is Arizona, California, Oregon, etc., you know, they don't get a lot of exposure. A lot of great talent out there, but they don't get a lot of exposure because like they're out there apparently. So I was like, okay, well, my new work schedule has me coming home at 11 o'clock p.m. and it's 8 o'clock over for the most part over in the West Coast. So I'm like, yeah, why not have some of those men and women that are very incredible in the ring on our show? And then I actually contacted Charlie Avell. I was like, Charlie, who do you actually recommend from Oregon to be on our show? And then he said, the Flaming Aces. He said, Amira. He said, King Naja. He said, Derek Shaw. And of course, he said, your name as well. And I looked you up. I'm like, wait a minute, I know this guy. We talked before. Said, yeah, you didn't make your debut yet. I was like, yeah, when you make your debut, we want to talk to you. Here we are.
2 years later, yeah, here we are.
I mean, pardon?
2 years later, let's see, over 20,000 miles traveled, 21 promotions, 14 states.
Wow, that is you did all that in 2 years?
Yep.
Wow, that is impressive, man. So were you over like the East Coast, or was it like mostly like the West,
I've been
Midwest?
all over. A good ref, one of my mentors, hooked me up with the midget wrestling warriors, so I travel with them all over the country. Um, and then anywhere that I thought was cool, I've just flown myself out there and got opportunities.
Awesome. That's great. Gabe actually talked about that too. He was like, he said a tag team or two wrestlers that were in the tag team, they flew themselves to certain states, and they showed up at the shows and they just happened to get booked. So that I tip my hat off to you for doing that. Kudos to you on that. That definitely shows dedication towards the professional wrestling industry, and you're definitely going the right step. Um, so I got so let's normally I normally ask, like, pretty much every one of our guests this, but how did you become a fan of professional wrestling? What was the match or the event that you saw that?
back to
made
my
you
child.
tune
My dad, diehard wrestling fan. So I grew up watching ECW, going to shows, um, watching all of the WCW shows, like going to Hell in the Cell 1 and like crying for Shawn Michaels because he's covered in blood after him and The Undertaker. Um, Being there for Stone Cold, like when he first got his first title and he came out with the skull. But yeah, so like it goes back to my dad. My dad loved the sport. Grew up watching it. You know, we're from St. Louis, so wrestling and the Chase, it's a huge thing. My dad still goes to local wrestling shows. We talk about it all the time. But yeah, it started with him. He got me into it. I fell in love with it. I started collecting all the little toys and was playing. I had all the figures and the Titantrons, and then it just kind of blossomed into. I was always like, oh, I want to be a wrestler. I'm going to be a wrestler, and you know, at the time when I was a kid, I'm 5 foot, 100 pounds. Wrestlers were 6'6", 300, big bulky men, you know. So I never, you know, I just kind of blew it off and then waited, and then I moved out here to Oregon, and I was like, you know what? I went to a DOA show, and I was like, that's me. I want to be, I want this. I can do this. So then I was like, you know what? I started looking for schools, couldn't find anything. COVID happened. Um, all of a sudden, I got an email from a fellow referee saying, "Hey, Ricky Gibson's opening a school at I'm here in Oregon." So I got a message to him, started going, was one of the first original students there, and put in work 3 days a week, some days 4 days a week, almost 6 hours a day. Get off work, you know, go straight to the school and work till 11 o'clock at night. Get up, go to work at 5 in the morning, do it again the next day. Did that for probably a solid year. Ricky sent me up to SOS Pro Wrestling. I worked for them for their very first live show, and after that, I knew that this was it. This is what I wanted to do.
awesome. That's cool. That's great. Oregon Pro Wrestling. It sounds like the one of the cool places to be, one of the cool schools to go to. And I've seen a lot of impressive ones like the Black and the Brave, the Nightmare Factory. Even, you know, we had the honor of having one of your I don't know if he's a fellow graduate. I could be wrong, but please correct me if I am. Derek Shaw, who actually was at the Fale Dojo. It
I
seems
would.
like
Derek's a mentor for all of us. Derek was already kind of graduated and was doing his own thing, and already came back from the dojo before we met him. So he's on the wall of our mentors.
oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, but it seems like Oregon Pro Wrestling is definitely an impressive place and the place to be. Um, you know, if you're in Oregon, and um, it's funny how things are, because I remember Ricky Gibson when he was in the WCWC, the West Coast Wrestling Connection,
Yep.
and you know he had Eddie Pearl as his roadie, and then eventually Eddie Pearl became his tag team partner, and then he had Eddie Pearl's brother Billy Pearl as the roadie, and now they're like, you know, um, Eddie and Ricky are now like the Midnight Heat, one of the biggest, one of to me, one of the best tag teams, you know, in professional wrestling. I'm not just saying that because you're from Oregon, but you know, that's what I personally think. And they had that very unique move called, was it the Black Sabbath or the Back Sabbath, a play
Yeah.
off of Black Sabbath? And I was like, yo, what is that? Kathy, you should have seen this move on AW Dark, man. I was like, yo, like I had to rewind like YouTube to see that twice, 3 times, 4 times because it was so impressive. But yeah, that was definitely something.
Yeah, Ricky and Eddie are definitely an amazing tag team, and they taught us well. They all taught us really well. It's always a pleasure going to the school. I don't get to go very much anymore because of my work schedule. But Fridays nights normally, if I'm not having something booked show wise, I'm there with everybody.
Awesome. So, um, you graduated from Oregon Pro Wrestling. How did referee? What was the feeling refereeing your first match? Were you excited, like, yes, I finally get to take what, you know, Ricky taught me, and what Eddie taught me as well too, and put it together as a referee in this match? Or were you like, oh geez, I'm nervous, what do I do? Like,
Uh,
like I don't want to, or was it a combination of both?
Honestly, I took what they gave me, and then I went out there and I was nervous. I was probably 2 months into training, so I hadn't even date. I wasn't even a graduate yet. They needed a role. So my debut show, they needed a ref. They were shorthanded. Something happened with a ref. They couldn't make it. So Ricky and them said, goes, hey, I'm not signing off on him to be a ref yet, but he can definitely be one. He'll help your show. Just let him follow the other ref there, which I don't know if you know who Buddy Ruth is.
No, but I will definitely look him up.
He's one of the other refs in the area. He's one of my mentors. He was a Dub C ref. Um, but he's one of my mentors. So I went up there with him and he put me in a match. I was in a singles match, went really well. And he's like, all right, we're going to give you this skull on a pole match. So I got my first kind of like gimmick match. They were really happy with me. They told me as soon as you're officially able to roll, would love to use you. And then I came back to them. I want to say about 3 shows ago, I made my way back to them, but I've been all over, pretty much worked for every promotion here in Oregon now.
Wow, that is awesome. So I gotta ask you, man. So the West Coast Wrestling Connection, they were like the big, I guess one of the, you could say, not if not the one of the big fish in the Oregon wrestling scene.
It was
Are
before
these
being here, so like I wasn't here for the whole thing, but from my understanding of wrestling and grow in like research and stuff, WCWC was a big part of making what the PNW was.
okay? Yeah, because I when I first started watching them 5 years ago, 2017, circa 2017, 2018, I remembered I was just so impressed by the amount of people they had there. That's where I first found out about Hammerstone, Jacob Fatu, who he used to be one of the Midnight Marvels. I think his name is Damian Drake, who's now I guess in Las Vegas. He's now based in Las Vegas. And you had people like Beast the Butcher. You all had like a great roster over there, and they were so like amazing. And that's where I first found out about Blake Chadwick, who's now hired WB. So, I don't know what's going on with WC, but I hope they're not defunct. I hope they come back, because to me that was like a great promotion there in Oregon. And
Yeah.
they're the ones that got me to want to try Voodoo Donuts.
Everybody that's not from here says that. And it's no diss to them, but man, there's other donut places here in Oregon that are like really good donuts. But if you want a donut that looks like whatever you want it to, they're gonna do. Voodoo Donuts is the spot. But you come to Oregon, I'll take you to a real donut spot.
I'll definitely take you up on that offer, because and I guess it was WCWC. They were like, yeah, Voodoo Donut, and then they had this other place which closed down, and I'm so upset they closed down because I really wanted to try their sandwiches. Brunch Box. Unfortunately, they closed down. I'm like, oh man, like I was kind of disappointed with that. I'm a big foodie, so that's my thing. Um, but yeah, but WCWC, that was definitely a very unique thing as well. So another thing, now that you referee, you actually got to referee some death matches, and one of them that I think it's an iconic photo. You were looking through a hole in the ring, and it was the death match thing, and I was like,
Oh,
wow, that must have been really intense.
this last one, yes. So, I got into this because growing up watching ECW, I'm a hardcore ref. I love hardcore matches. I love the death matches. Speaking of death matches, I have a gimmick I made the other day, right here. Real fire
Ooh,
hurt with the next death match. But
wow, okay.
I love the death match scene. I get to learn from Drexel. If you haven't got to talk to Drexel, that's the guy to talk to. That man has taught me so much. And I've been all over. That's where I mostly travel with, is doing the death match thing. I've done pretty much all of the death matches on the West Coast that are in Oregon with Prestige, which is that talking about, which was Drexel versus Akira. I guess you could say it's number 3. No board. We took the pad off. We took the canvas off. I built barbed wire ropes, and then I wrapped them with more barbed wire. And then I created a really, if you get to see some of the pictures, Tiffany Gibson, she posted some pictures that she took from the show. And there's a really excellent shot of like the whole knife board that I built. But I started building all the weapons here for all of those matches.
Wow. Man, refereeing those death matches must be something, man, because they can be unpredictable and so on.
It's all
And
safety.
yeah, I've seen some. I'm not really too much of a fan of death matches, but I've seen some, and I'm like, that were pretty good. Like I've seen some in like CZW, Combat Zone Wrestling.
Yeah.
Those were pretty good. I enjoyed those. Nick Gage is a beast. Jeez, that guy is insane.
One of these days, that's the goal of mine, is to get to GCW to be able to work with him once. If you've seen the death match I did with Drexel and Akira, and we had Danger Aaron from Jackass in it, that one, we took a trampoline, a 14-foot trampoline. Instead of putting the trampoline pad on it, we covered it in barbed wire from the springs, and we used it, and they got suplexed onto that.
Okay, wow. That's is there anywhere I can see that? Is there anywhere I can see that?
Go to IWTV and go up to Prestige, and it's on there. That was Roseland 4, because we're getting ready to have Roseland 5 coming up.
Cool. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about Prestige. I might have to check them out because I've heard that they're now traveling all over the country, and I like seeing things like that. Like promotions like are now like they're no longer set in one particular state or area. They're no longer set in one particular city or state. They're like traveling out of state, going different places. To me, that's a win. That's a major win for wrestling fans. And I hopefully more get the chance to do that as well too, and so on. So I forgot. Oh, so you mentioned Jackass. You mentioned Danger Aaron. So I take it you were probably, matter of fact, don't let me assume. They say when you assume you're making, ass out of, several people. But what were your thoughts seeing the Sami Zayn? I don't know which one he battled at WrestleMania last year, but what were your thoughts on that match? Seeing Sami Zayn battle that guy from Jackass?
From when he wrestled Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with several of those guys.
I'm a wrestling fan. I think the comedy stuff is amazing. I'm all for it.
Yeah, that was a pretty it was a funny match. It was definitely a funny match. And I give kudos to Sami. Just goes to show how great Sami is as a wrestler. Like he can actually that he can actually do that match, and then most recently give a pretty good match against Roman Reigns. That definitely says a lot about his in-ring work as well.
Absolutely.
So I just got 2 more questions. I know Kathy is chomping at the bit to ask some questions as well. So my second to last question is in regards to, like, let's say if, there's somebody that wants to get into the business as a referee and they want to join Oregon Pro Wrestling. What would your advice be to that person?
The market, it's a tough market. There's a bunch of refs all over. Everybody wants to work, so everybody wants opportunity. So you just got to come, put in the work, come to the school. If they want to come sign up, all you got to do is message Ricky Gibson.
Awesome. So for those y'all that are looking that are in Oregon that are looking to for wrestling school, check out Oregon Pro Wrestling. Check out Rick. Hit up Ricky Gibson. You just heard it from an alumni student there. No, they're not cutting us a check to say this, but definitely check out Oregon Pro Wrestling, and you'll definitely see some pretty good stuff over there too. We've had several of their students on our show, all amazing. And my last question. So you're pretty much the last of the list of our PNW excursion. I don't know if I'm using the right word. Kathy, please, correct me. I'm getting old. I tend to say, I use, I'm surprised I didn't use vacation this time, but we're on the last. You're pretty much the last person of our PNW list. So with that being said, who are the top 5 people you think we should interview in your neck of the woods?
Here, next 5 people for you to interview. Jaden the Incredible.
Oh, that's the guy that's like that has like that's
Girl, Jaden.
Yeah.
Caden Cassidy. Let's see who else. A couple of people that you want to interview. Try not to just give you people that are just Oregon Pro people. Pitfall Jones. He's up in Seattle. The Fallen Flower Kikyo.
Woo! I've seen her.
Let's see. Let me give you another one. I'm going to send this one all the way back to the Midwest for you. Jeremy Lightfoot.
Jeremy Lightfoot, okay. You said Caitlin Cassidy?
Caden Cassidy.
Hayden, okay. That name sounds familiar. Pitfall Jones sounds familiar too.
Yep.
I've actually known of Kikyo for years. When she was known as Karai Haim. This was like back in 2013. And the first time I saw her, I was like just amazed by her ability in the ring. And Jaden is definitely fat. He's rapidly becoming, a known name, in my opinion, a known name in professional wrestling. I saw that match with him and Derek Shaw. That was a pretty good match too.
Yep.
Awesome.
The last Prestige show, he wrestled Island Angels.
Woo, wow.
Watch that one.
I know that was a banger. I know it. Island Angels.
Yep.
And then Jaden too. People, for those y'all watching, look up Jaden. You will not be disappointed. I would reach up.
You have IWTV. Turn it on. DOA tomorrow night. You can watch Jaden wrestle there.
Ooh, I will definitely try to tune in. I got some stuff going on personally. Not personally, but professionally. But if I get a chance, I'll definitely try to tune in tomorrow as well. But with that being said, I'm gonna definitely check out those names that you gave us. Thank you very much. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Kathy. I know Kathy's, she has a couple of questions as well too. Kathy, go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right, thanks, Remy. What's up, Brad? How's your night going?
Going good. Just hanging out, getting ready, prepared for tomorrow.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you refereed in different places. You refereed for Defy, and Vert Vixen is the women's champion there. We've had her on the show before. Have you refereed any of her matches while she's in Defy, or?
I have.
Nice.
I refereed. I made my debut in the Washington Hall with her and Kikyo. They were in a fatal 4-way. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, she's pretty good. She's getting up in the ranks there and everywhere else. So, congratulations to her there. You also refereed a Kid Bandit match, which you said that was one of your top 4 matches in 2022. We've had Kid Bandit on the show as well. So, what was that match like? To put it in your top four, it must have been pretty awesome.
Yes, because that match. So I've worked with Kid 3 times, and that one was with Drexel, and it was just amazing. I mean, there's so many things that happened in that match that will like live on with me. Like there's opportunities and weapons, like with the Keyblade, barbed wire Keyblade. That was amazing. Like things like that they pull out of nowhere. I'm just like, whoa. Kid taking that chair straight to the dome. I was just like, I mean, you can see if you watch any of the replays, in like those death matches, they get hit, and I'm just like, and it's not me trying to like do any. I'm literally just like, oh my god, they just died, like they just got murdered in front of me. So when you see me react, it's a natural thing. I'm just reacting to what I see.
Yeah, Kid's pretty crazy. Got to watch a Bandit match. I believe it was with Chris Carter in at Wrestle Rave last year for my birthday. Got to see it in person, and that match was just outrageous. It was crazy. It wasn't a death match. It was just a regular match, but it was high flying. It was pretty crazy, and it was awesome to see.
Yep.
So you mentioned that you were also a referee for Midget Wrestling Warriors. So what's the difference? So you've done, you refereed regular matches, you refereed death matches, you refereed, little people midget matches. Like, what's all the difference between the three? I know, like, in the bar matches, you kind of have to get out of the way, which you have to get out of the way in a regular match too, but it's more dangerous in a death match. So like, what's the difference between all three?
Really, they're all the same. I treat them all the same. Every one of the midget warriors that I work with, are talented wrestlers and could wrestle with any normal sized adult, out there. Um, I don't treat the matches anything differently. Um, Only thing I do differently in death matches is my number one safety thought is their safety. So that's my main priority, is making sure they're safe. But otherwise, I ref everything the exact same. Nothing changes.
Have you ever gotten hurt in a death match? Trying to get out of the way because they use glass, they use barbed wire, they use
I
tables, they use
have,
whatever at their disposal.
I have been hit with chairs. Funny Bone likes to murder the referee. I don't know if you've ever watched any Funny Bone matches. The demigod of death will always find a way to hit you with something. So I've taken a few chair shots before in my life. But no, I've never actually been like physically hurt in the ring wrestling. I actually broke my eye socket training when I went to visit some friends in Illinois.
Ouch. That
That
must have been painful.
But yeah, that was the only injury that I've had wrestling wise, and that was just me training. And when you train with new people, things can happen. That's why we're in training, and I broke my face.
Ouch. So have you done any wrestling? Like, have you become a wrestler, or you just stay on the referee side?
I got into the business to be a referee. I don't really want to wrestle. I trained at the school. So like I was in the very beginning, like when I was training, I was learning just like them. But yeah, I don't have the desire to. I love being a ref. The ref, that's my spot.
Awesome. Yeah, some people transition, they start as a referee and they become wrestlers. So I was just wondering if you had any aspirations to be a wrestler. So that's where that came from.
No, I don't. Maybe if I was, 18 years younger. I'm in my mid 30s now, so I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I think if I was 18, because man, those bumps hurt. That ring hurts. Like it's brutal on the body, and yeah, I don't know. If I was 18 years younger, maybe I would have wrestled. But no, I love being a ref, and we all have a position to do in the sport and the business, and that's my spot. On top of that, then like Timber Pro Wrestling is a promotion that I'm part of. That so I'm learning the inside ropes and like how to promote a book show. So that's my next step. As after my refereeing career is over, behind the scenes producing shows. I love when you watch a wrestling show, the camera cutting back and forth between the cameras. I love that, and that's my next step.
Nice. Yeah, I actually went to school for broadcasting, so I know exactly what you're talking about. You pretty much want to be like a director or producer.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So you are wearing one of your merch shirts, and I saw it's on Brainbuster Tees. You have a bunch of shirts. There was one shirt that says "Wrong answers only." So what was the right answer? Like, what was going on there?
All right, so we can go into that one. That shirt that saw is "Wrong answers only." We're gonna give a shout out to Wayne Evans, one of the Oregon Pro students. That picture is it's actually a zoomed in photo. If you go back to my page, you can see the zoomed out photo, and we have a Tokyo Tower of glass tubes in the corner, and Akira is getting thrown through it, and the glass is shattering everywhere. So you see my facial expression, and they zoomed in on it, and you can see glass shattering everywhere. So when Wayne posted the zoomed in photo, he tagged only wrong answers to what's going on in the picture. And there was, if you go to the Twitter page, you will see some of the craziest answers for what was named. So when I decided to do the shirt, I had to name it "Wrong Answers Only."
That's a pretty neat story. That's funny. So I was looking on your Instagram. That's where I got most of these questions from, and I'm assuming. So you went to there's this restaurant called Dick's Last Resort. The only one I know of is in San Antonio. Was that the one you went to?
No, I went to one, and we were in Dallas.
Okay.
I was with the Midget Wrestling Warriors, and we all went there. And when you walk out, when you're outside, you look, there's a sign that says all these things that you can't do or you can't say back to them. And we're in there, and I'm like, man, we're gonna get belittled. I'm with all short little people. Like they're gonna throw punches. Like this is gonna get crazy. And I don't know if you seen the pictures of the hats. I posted a bunch of them, I think. The hats were the greatest. The server there was amazing. Yeah, she tore into us pretty good, but it was fun. I'll definitely go back. And if you haven't been there, you should go there.
Yeah, so for people that don't know about this, it's a restaurant called Dick's Last Resort. There's one in San Antonio, there's one in Dallas. The premise of it basically is, I mean, we're on after hours, so I can say all this, but they treat you like dicks basically. They treat you like you're the scum of the earth. They throw stuff at you, like they'll throw napkins at you, and it's hilarious. I actually went for the first time for Royal Rumble this year when I went to San Antonio, and that's what I was gonna ask. Like, if they give you hats to wear, it's these big long hats. It's almost like it's not so much a dunce cap, but like you don't have to wear it the whole time. But they make these things up. What was some of the stuff that yours said,
Um,
if you
so
can remember?
mine was something about like my man thong was causing me to have a rash. I remember one of them. There was a birthday girl, and hers said, "I spread my legs faster than COVID-19." I there was one that they put on one of the short guys there. It said, I think, what was it? I thought this was a gay bar. But yeah, they put all kinds of things on those hats. It was fun. I don't know where they come up with these things, but yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, so mine said, just trying to remember, so easy a caveman could do me. And then I went to Royal Rumble with one of my friends and her son. Her son said something like, my mom still wipes my butt, something like that. It was pretty funny. And then hers, she has braces. So it was something, I forgot what hers said, but it was something about like pubes or something. It was like, oh my God. But yeah, they write it up. I think it's before they take your order. Like they'll write up the hats, and you can either wear them the whole time, or we took pictures of it. It's pretty funny. I think
It was
I
great.
have mine on my Instagram, I think.
And if you're a beer drinker, every beer came in a cup, and you got to keep the cup. So I came home with like 7 cups in my suitcase.
Yeah, I didn't take anything there. I did take a picture of the little guy, like their mascot with the beer mug, and then
I,
somebody from the store next door like photobombed it. It was hilarious.
I bought a shirt and I normally don't buy merch from like restaurants, but I bought one. I was like, dude, this is funny. I'm buying that.
That's awesome. So, my last question before I turn it over to Remy was, well, we'll plug your stuff after, but you had some candy on your Instagram, and one of them was Payday. I love Paydays. Now, have you ever? There's a chocolate Payday candy bar out there. Have you tried it yet?
I have not. So the candy bar thing is, so if you see my shirt, everyone, you can tell what candy bar it looks like.
Right.
The Payday is another ref. His name is Benjamin Roberts, another one of my mentors. His is his logo, tall ref, kind of looks like that one. And then Buddy Ruth, of course, has one. And I started tagging us as the candy bar gang. On that's so you'll see that little tag with when I post candy. But yeah, Milky Way is my favorite candy, so I kind of was like, that was my inspiration to my candy bar.
Okay, awesome. But yeah, if you do try, they have a chocolate Payday, and it's my go-to. So I go to wrestling shows. I live in Louisiana, and I'll drive about like 4 hours to Texas for wrestling shows, and that's my little go-to thing. I have like a routine now, I guess, because I've been going to so many shows there. I'll drive over there and like eat dinner and whatever, watch the show, and then on the way back when I get gas, I get like a chocolate Payday.
Nice, yeah. So wrestler, like I have a thing. When I go to Seattle for wrestling shows, I stop at the exact same subway every time. I get the exact same thing, and then I go across the street to this gas station and I get the exact same thing.
So you have a routine too, then a
Yeah.
little travel routine. Yeah,
Yeah.
you almost have to. Like, it kind of makes you feel more comfortable having to travel. So, like, I do a little routine there too. So, yeah,
And
that's pretty neat.
nice because like, okay, I'm here. I know that I have an hour and a half left, and then I'm here. And it kind of gives you that nice break in between.
Yeah, that's true too. So before I send it over to Remy, you mentioned there you have a show tomorrow, and there's also a show on March 11th, Timber Pro Wrestling. It's called TPW Out of the Woods.
Yep.
Do you have anything else you'd like to promote?
So I'm at DOA tomorrow. Actually, here, 1 second. Can't do anything without the book because I don't keep track of everybody. Let's see where we
There
got.
you go.
We got DOA this weekend. I have Timber Pro Wrestling, my promotion along with my 4 other friends of mine. We have that on the 11th. And then I'm going to be with the Midget Warriors. And then I have Mania Weekend. Mania Weekend is going to be my big one with Relentless Pro Wrestling, Dark Art, Pandemonium. I'll be at all of those shows. The following day, I have Crimson. I'll be at both of those shows. And then the following day, I'll be at Prestige. So that's my next few bookings that I have to be at.
Nice. Got a busy few weeks there. Yeah, I forgot. It's in Los Angeles on the West Coast. So yeah, you guys get like a little rub there. They always do, like, it was in Dallas last year, so they had a lot of Texas promotions. So
Yep.
now people get to see what the West Coast is all about. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, good opportunity, good exposure, good for everyone.
Well, definitely for people watching and listening, if you're on the West Coast or visiting the West Coast, go check out some wrestling on the West Coast.
And if you want to see a death match, Crimson, that's going to be the one. Whole entire show of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So before I turn it over to Remy, just want to say thank you for coming on the show, and good luck in all your refereeing duties and everything, and all the shows coming up. And thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Remy.
Brad, thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule, to be on our show to shoot the breeze with us. We really and truly do appreciate it, and enjoy that WrestleMania week. I call it WrestleMania week now because like it's like a bunch of stuff going on during that
But
week. But definitely enjoy. I might be over there. I'm thinking about heading over there. I don't know. I gotta see how my mind is because it's not just something I can do. I gotta think like, okay, what shows am I gonna go to? You know, and and whatnot. So I might go there. I might not go there. Like I said, the West Coast wrestling scene in general has always impressed me, as much as the East Coast scene has. And y'all have a lot of larger than life, men and women there, as well. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. But before we shut this show down, where can fans find you on social media when they want to find out what your next appearance is, purchase, Brad Lee merchandise, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
so you can just referee Bradley at AOL, old school AOL. You can email me there. That's where I get all my bookings through there. It just keeps it organized. You can find me on Twitter, referee Bradley. Same with Instagram and Facebook. Um, see, yeah. You can go to Brainbuster Tees, and I have a few different options on there. I have some stuff on Pro Wrestling Tees. What a Maneuver. Store Frontier is another good one that has a bunch of stuff on there. But Brainbuster is my go-to. That's the one I push the most.
Awesome. So y'all definitely heard, follow the man. He also has, he also has merchandise available. So, definitely check it out. If you can't make the shows he's at, that's another way you can actually support him and also support indie wrestling is, to purchase the merchandise that these men and women have available as well too. And look at it this way. When he gets signed by GCW or AEW and WWE and somebody's like, yo, I got the new Brad Lee shirt. You can be like, yeah, I had the one when he was on the indies. I'm the real fan here. So it's
Yeah.
always a great thing. So definitely go ahead and, support indie wrestling. I'm not gonna stop saying that because you know why? That's where 99% of your AEW, WWE, Impact Wrestling, and Ring of Honor stars, because Ring of Honor is now with AEW. Um, well, they're under AEW. That's where they come from, is the indies. So definitely
We
support indie. It's a great feeling. So, with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for, a midnight snack and a nap. Maybe not in that order, but before I partake in those activities, Kathy Knight, the Money Penny to my James Bond, the Pepper Potts to my Tony Stark, and I can't think of any wrestling personality that's male and female. Oh heck, the Tennille to my captain. Old school reference there for y'all that don't know. Where can fans find you on social media when they want to, talk wrestling, see your great edits that you have on YouTube, and all things, and when they want to talk all things Becky Lynch, Paige, and good Louisiana eating as well.
So you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Discord, and Twitch, all at BLUE70517.
Awesome. She does good work, y'all. Definitely check out her YouTube page as well. And if you want to find me on social media, not that I say a lot of cool stuff, but who knows? Maybe you'll actually hear me say a lot of cool stuff. But you can actually check out some of my travels I've had for this year so far. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue as well. I'm also on there too. Our podcast, however, is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're on Facebook as a Facebook group. Just type in Ringside Society and you'll see us there. And we're also on Spotify, and we have a Teespring store where we sell official Ringside Society merchandise. We have t-shirts, we have tank tops, we have hoodies, we have long sleeve shirts, we have pillows, we even have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage. So definitely check us out, cop some merch. All proceeds go back into keeping our show afloat. They do not go back into our pockets. And as a matter of fact, it's pretty much the beginning of March. And you know what's this month? St. Patrick's Day. So we have the Ringside Society St. Patrick's Day apparel. So definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed as well. And with that being said, last but not least, we also have a YouTube channel where we have cool interviews like this one, the one we have with Derek Shaw, the Flaming Aces, Amira, King Naja, many other great men and women in the Pacific Northwest, many other great men and women all over the world. You can actually see that on our YouTube channel. So all you gotta do is go on there. It's real simple. Type in Ringside Society when you go to YouTube, and once you see that really gorgeous, beautiful, OMG, dark blue and light blue yin yang sound with the blue flames around it. That's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning in live tonight. We really and truly appreciate it. Thank you very much. We strive on being one of the best wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan could and should listen to, and we will not stop. To those of you that are going to listen later on, we get a chance. Thank you very much in advance. And those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really truly wish we'd go away. Well, like myself at the Golden Corral, or better yet, like myself at Voodoo Donut when I get to PDX, and like Kathy Knight at Cafe Du Monde for the buy one get one special. We're not going anywhere for a while,
They hate us because they ain't us.
and we ain't stopping. And with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we're very well and aware that everybody and their grandparents and their parents have a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. Hashtag we are not the same. Hey, yo, Kathy Knight, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, one time for the very great Oregon Pro Wrestling School and its students and teachers, and one time for referee Brad Lee, who's keeping things in order. Death match, ladder match, regular match. He's making it happen like a captain. What type of podcast are we?
We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast.
That's right, we're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society, and we'll be back tomorrow with our AEW Revolutions predictions episode. We already have one special guest, and it's going to be a guy that some of y'all are familiar with. That's right, it's going to be Nate Outrage from the Chaotic Outrage show. He's going to be on there, giving his predictions alongside us as well too. So make sure y'all tune in tomorrow at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For all my West Coast riders, that's 8 o'clock p.m. But until then, we just want y'all to do 4 favors for us. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
Let the good times roll, Louisiana. Bye.